where we spread love and positive vibes. And I want to start the video by thanking all you subscribers and our returning subscribers. We value you, we appreciate you so much. And today I want to talk about the resilience of the people of Jamaica. Jamaicans are born strong people. People who can endure a lot. People who can persevere a lot and emerge victorious. And today we are going to look at Jamaicans as people who have endured a lot, who have actually gone through a lot, and they have persevered all that to come out victoriously. I want to start by saying the Jamaicans themselves, they started from a very place, or rather from a very painful place. Remember that most of the Jamaicans, actually the black Jamaicans, were actually taken as slaves from West Africa. We have repeated that a lot. And therefore, along the way, there was famine, there was a lot of sufferings, beaten, hunger, diseases, and these people persevered a lot along the way. Being Africans that were actually captured or held captive from their own land. You can imagine being told to leave your land by force, by the way. And you're going to a new land and you have boycotted everything that you knew, your surroundings, the people you are familiar with, and you are carried away. There is no great pain like that one. When you are removed from your familiarity to a place you don't know, a place you're not familiar with, a people that you don't know, and to make the matters worse, you are being held as a slave. Starving, suffering on a ship between home and what they called hell, where they were supposed to work for these people. So along the way, there was starvation, there was a lot of suffering on the ships that used to carry them from their comfortable home to the hell they were going to. And after reaching the hell, there was also a lot of suffering, stress of the people you have left and the place you have left and all that. And also working for people without pay and hard labor without food and a lot of suffering. These people went through a lot of suffering. And therefore they endured all that suffering. A mother and a daughter scavenged through rubbish, hoping to find something to eat. So they were forced to go and scavenge in the rubbish pits so that they can get something to eat. You can actually imagine, I have seen people that go to the rubbish pits to look for something to eat. In this country of ours, we call them chokora. And therefore, these people have nowhere to sleep, have no one to talk to. They have nothing to eat. So they survive with the food they get in the rubbish pits. This was the case scenario of the people that were held captive as slaves. They were surviving with what they get in the rubbish pits to survive and to actually keep them alive. But all this they endured with a lot of strength, with a lot of resilience, with a lot of hope that tomorrow will be better. Remember that from their home to the land of slavery, there are so many sicknesses and diseases that these people were suffering from. Some of them witnessed their dear ones dying in the deck. And there is nothing that can cause a lot of anxiety, a lot of fear, a lot of pain than to see the people that you have come with, the people that are familiar to you, are dying on your way to where you are going. It was very painful. And throughout this pain, they learned to express their pain through songs. So they were singing some very painful songs. You can imagine going through all these, the diseases, the starvation, the lack of shelter, somewhere to sleep, and yet you are composing songs and singing them. This is the kind of endurance the Jamaicans that left West Africa had. And this endurance, the Jamaicans have taught other people to actually endure and emerge victorious. And therefore they endured until they reached their destination, which was Jamaica in the sugar plantations. The history of Jamaica people involves shocking images of pain and the experience of people deprived their freedom and the familiar homes to bondage and agony and suffering. Only a person who has gone through that can actually comprehend and understand. These people went through hell, and in the midst of this hell, they were able to compose songs that they were singing. The slaves were forced to do hard labor to satisfy the greedy demands of their masters and to enrich them and make them powerful. The sufferings brought about the role of mask and its style. Jamaicans have used various types of mask to stand up and face the obstacles they meet along the way in life. Music has actually been one of the ways that the Jamaicans have endured their pain and expressed their pain and relieved their pain and their torture. So these slaves started a way to relieve their pain, to relieve their torture through music. And this has been carried on, like we are going to see, and they have actually made other people to be able to express themselves through pain. Right? I remember when South Africans were fighting for freedom, we saw young people, young women and young men going to the streets, expressing their pain, expressing their desires through songs. This thing was passed on from Jamaica to South African people. Because remember that Jamaica played a very great role in the attaining of freedom, or rather in the ending of apartheid of the South African people. And therefore, when we saw the people like Sarafina, we used to call them Sarafina, and there was Miss Who. There was a woman who was elderly, and that woman is still alive even up to today. Miss Mazinduka, something like that. So these people used to express their pain and what they are going through music. Where did they get this style from? They learned from Jamaica. The slaves used to express themselves through songs, through singing, and to relieve their agony and pain through music. So we can see there is a lot of borrowing from the Jamaican people even to the African people, even up to today. Most of the people, they express themselves, their desires, their pain, their frustration through songs. And we find this intriguing. Something that had started in the 18th century, it is still being used up to today to express people's pain, to express their joy, to express their suffering through music. So this is an art that was started by the Jamaican people, and it was extended even to Africa and to the whole world. Jamaica has taught us to actually be perseverant, to actually use our pain for gain. Remember that Nana and the Maroon people used to go through a lot. I remember talking to you and telling you that these people were deprived even their own children after giving birth. There is nothing painful than for a woman after giving birth, your child to be taken away. And this is what used to happen to these slaves. And therefore, they endured the pain of a mother, the pain of losing their young ones if you happened to get pregnant and you are a slave. Apart from that, they endured the suffering of not wanting to give birth because you know, after giving birth, your child will be taken away. You can imagine enduring such great pain. And these people, through this pain, they learned that they can liberate themselves. They learned that we can fight back. Through our music, we can communicate with one another and plan a scheme to escape from these people and plan a scheme how we can fight back their oppressors. And that is what they did, and they emerged victorious, and their oppressors had to give in. We learn about people like Paul Bogra. They could not stand to see themselves losing, to see themselves being oppressed, to see themselves used as slaves. They chose to die. That is how resilient and how strong the people of Jamaicans are. And they have taught us a great deal that we can use our pain to actually work for gain. We can use our pain to go to the next level. We can use our pain to see a better tomorrow. So when we see the Jamaican people and the endurance they have endured, it teaches us a lot. The other day, there was the Hurricane Beryl. And in Jamaica, there have been several hurricanes. Jamaica is actually a country that is exposed to a lot of catastrophes. So we have the hurricanes, we have the earthquakes, we have strong storms. And therefore, there was a hurricane in 2022, Hurricane Ian. And on 2020, there was the Hurricane Lotta. In 2016, there was the Hurricane Matthew. In 2012, there was the Hurricane Sandy. And in 2010, there was the Tropical Cyclone Nicole. And 2024, there was the Hurricane Beryl. Jamaica is a small island. And out of these hurricanes, Jamaica has come out strong, supporting each other, standing with each other, helping each other to come back to life. I really watched the Jamaican people during the Hurricane Beryl. And I saw a lot of community work, a lot of unity. The people in the diaspora were ready to help the people that were affected by Hurricane Beryl. The people that were in Jamaica, like Cora Smith, like Kino, like great other people that came handy to help those that had suffered from Hurricane Beryl. They constructed houses for them. They removed the dump, or rather the rubbish that was carried to the water, to the beaches. There was a lot of rubbish along the beaches. People united together to collect that rubbish, to clean the beaches, and to return back to normal. This takes a strong people. This takes a resilient people. This takes a people that does not give up. A people that knows we have to rise from our down and rise up again and become who we were before this problem came. I have come to admire Jamaican people because I could not imagine. There is a time here, there was some, what are they called? A lot of rain had poured. And there were floods all over. And I can tell you for sure, it took a lot of time for people to be settled. Even up to today, some people have not been settled. The way the Jamaicans handled Hurricane Beryl, it was marvelous. It was amazing. Within a very short time, the country went back to normal. Because disasters will not hold the people of Jamaica. Disasters cannot bring them down. They rise again to the occasion. They rise again to where they were before the catastrophe. And I have seen it very, very strong in Jamaica. People rising from a problem in a very strong way. Apart from the hurricanes, Jamaica has experienced earthquakes, drought, landslides, floods, and they have come out strong. They cannot be brought down by the problems they are facing. They rise strong and overcome their problems and unite again and go forward with a lot of strength. I remember Irina from the Jamaica by Irene. Irina was talking about the people of Jamaica and the way they do not go through depression or stress. And she was saying Jamaicans have devised a way that they wear bright colors that can brighten their day, that can brighten their mood, that can brighten their ups and downs in life. And I remember watching the Hurricane Beryl. It was a lot of disaster, and yet I could not see Jamaicans that were lamenting. They were all up and down, trying to actually come back to life, trying to save the situation, trying to help those that have been affected. This was marvelous, and that is what I'm talking about. Jamaicans can never be brought down by disasters or calamities. They rise up and they shake their bodies and move forward. So these catastrophes have been happening in the island, and yet they have not pulled them down. They continue rising and rising because they stand strong. They don't lose hope. They are resilient people. They are full of strength, inner strength that propels them to the next level. Many people have learned that you can wake up from your problem, shake your problem, and move forward. They have taught a lot of people that failure does not define who you are. It is just for a day, and then you move on, and tomorrow will be a bright day. We have seen very great men and women in Jamaica who have actually come from very deep problems, or rather very humble backgrounds, and they have emerged winners. Look at Usain Bolt. I was looking at the background of Usain Bolt. The parents were not well off, and Usain Bolt did not allow his background to bring him down. He rose from his ashes. Actually, he was brought up in a rural area in Jamaica. But he did not allow the upbringing in the rural area to just hold his destiny. He rose up to be one of the famous men in the world, to put Jamaica in the map, to define the land of Jamaica in terms of athletics. Those are the Jamaicans. You cannot bring them down because of where they were born or where they were raised. I usually admire the people that license from their background to become great people in the society. And I've seen Usain Bolt as a simple boy in the rural areas, rising to be one of the known athletics in the world. It's not a small achievement. It requires somebody with resilience, somebody who does not lose hope, somebody with an inner strength that propels them to the next level. Look at this girl called Sherry Ann Fresher. She's one of the gold medalists in Jamaica. She is known all over the world for her resilience and her performance in short distance races. Sherry Ann was brought up in a plugged Waterhouse district of Kingston, a very simple district full of violence. But that did not define who Sherry Ann is. The mother was an unlicensed street vendor. Here in Kenya, we call them hawkers. And hawkers is not an easy job. So Sherry Ann's mother was a hooker according to Kenyan standard. But this lady refused to allow herself to be brought down by the background she came from. And she rose above the background she was brought up and became one of the famous athletes in the world. This is what we are calling resilient, hard work, determination. There is this man I featured in one of my videos when I started talking about Jamaica. There is this gentleman I learned about, I think he's from Britain or Canada, one of the two countries. And this gentleman faced a lot of opposition in his athletics. He's actually in those days where the racism was a lot in those countries. And I remember I read that he could actually be waited for to be killed. And they attempted to kill him several times. They even pinned on him something so that they can say he's a thief. And this man endured and became one of the greatest athletes of his time. Those are Jamaicans. They can face problems, but they stand out strong to go through the storm and come out strong. And today, I am actually looking at what Jamaicans has gained as a small island with a very, very low population. And I can tell you for sure, not many countries with such a population and such a small size can reach where Jamaica is. It has defeated all the odds to be who they are today. It has overcome storms and hardships to be who they are today. And as we look at Jamaica as a strong people, I want to congratulate them, to actually praise them for enduring, for teaching us that all things are possible where there is a will. And I want to state a story I came across about this woman who actually chose to make Jamaica home. She was not a Jamaican, but she learned the art of endurance, the art of resilience, the art of going through the storm and coming out strong. This lady was has actually made Jamaica her home. She's none other than Sophia Dias. This is a Jamaican by blood. Though she was not born in Jamaica, she has a lot of Jamaican characteristics. She learned about resilience. She learned about going through the storm and coming out strong. She learned about the inner strength that is derived from oneself, which the Jamaican people have. Sophia Dias was born from a Portuguese father and an Indian mother. And because of the diversity in her parents, she learned at an early age the culture of fusion of different communities and different races, and she learned how to interact with different people in her upbringing. This was to set her way for her talent later in the years. And as she moved to many, many countries, because she was born in India, she went to China, then she moved to Europe, and finally she came to Jamaica and settled there and called Jamaica home. As she moved from one country to the other, she learned the importance of diversity and honed her talents in fashion, cooking, and music. So she actually laid a foundation for her career later in life as she moved from one country to the other. In her journey, or in her talent journey, she met whom she thought would be her lifetime partner. And together they built a business empire. Very, very large business empire. Because this empire was not just in where they were staying, it was extended in the United States of America and beyond. And therefore, Sophia thought that her life has become good and now she can settle and have married. But as she prospered in her business, her relationship with the husband became even more dark. She started facing domestic violence. The husband started abusing her, beating her, and finally she lost her wealth, she lost her value, she lost herself, she lost her home, and lost her sense of self. So she lost everything she had worked for. And therefore, it is normal for a human being, when you lose everything you had, to lose hope, to give up, and to say, I don't want to live again. But Sophia had the Jamaican traits, and therefore, she took herself up, forgot about the pain she was going through, and used that pain to compose music. And her career in music became better and better. And she became a very great musician in reggae, fusion, and what else? Afro-fusion, reggae and Afro-fusion. And she's up to today a very celebrated musician in reggae and Afro-fusion. So she learned the reggae music from the Jamaican people. Having come from India, she knew very little of the reggae music, but she decided to settle down, compose her songs in reggae music, learn about reggae, and come out of her cocoon of pain and suffering and become who Sophia is today. So that is an illustration. We do not have to remain in our painful cocoons. We can come out strong through our pain. We can use our pain to be who we want to be tomorrow. And I think that will be the end of the video. Thank you so much for listening to me once again. Bye-bye and God bless.